surrounded him, and his followers came with him, and I sent my troops to keep the calm, and in the process, he was killed. His leaders were killed. Other people were all disbanded. Well, this time Herod Antipas didn't send a letter up to Tiberius, but the Senate from Syria did. They sent a letter to Tiberius and told Tiberius what had happened, and that I was at fault for all of these deaths of the Samaritan people, and I was then recalled to Rome. 10 years of service, and because of this crazy Messiah complex that some people had, and the death of their followers, I get recalled. Well, how about that? What was read? I heard the story of the first Messiah as I was coming to visit you this morning. The first Messiah, Yahshua. What really took place during that whole trial? What really was sort of going on behind the scenes? Now, some of you, if you're in the law profession here, you might understand the fact that there's got to be a charge. When the Jewish people brought Yahshua, or what you say is Joshua, which is also Jesus, when they brought him to me, they had already tried him. But they brought him, and I had to ask the question, the opening question, the interrogation question within my court. And the question was, what charge is against this man? What are you charging him with? Well, if you listened well to the reader was saying, I think what I heard the reader saying, that this Messiah was, number one, perverting our nation. Number two, forbidding us to pay taxes. And number three, saying that he was the Messiah, he is the king, we don't have to follow Tiberius. To me, they sound like, a pretty good accusation to bring to somebody, because I am, again, the governor. I'm underneath Tiberius. I want to make sure that the rule of the country goes right, and my loyalty goes to Tiberius. But what I didn't know until later on is that the actual charge that they were bringing was what they called blasphemy. Not that he was claiming to be the king for all of us within the earthly rule, but the Jews, the religious leaders, the Sanhedrin, Ananias and Caiaphas, said that it was blasphemy. He was claiming to be equal to God, the Son of God, the Lamb of God. I didn't know that at first. I looked at the charges that they presented to me. And I looked at him and I talked with him and I asked him, how do you plead? What do you say? Typically, if there's nobody to defend somebody within my court, if there's nobody to defend them, they're guilty. So I was given this Jesus the benefit of the doubt by asking him, is this true? Are you right? You have nobody else here to defend you. Is it true what they say about you? And he said, basically, yes, I am who you say that I am. It is as you say, and my kingdom is not of the world, so said this Messiah. I came to testify to the truth, and everyone who listens to my voice and belongs to me understands the truth. And I, as Pilate, at this point, said to him, what is truth? What is truth? Remember in the beginning I said some people say that I committed suicide because I could never answer that question? What is truth? You all understand, and if you read from what I understand, that Jesus earlier before he met me, he said the words, I am the way, the truth, the life. I say what is truth, and he's standing there right in front of me. He is the truth. But do you see I've had some problems with these Jewish people? And I don't really see how I can crucify this man. And I ask him, where are you from? And somebody says in the crowd, I forget, it's been 2,000 years, says, he's from Galilee. Well, who governs Galilee? Herod Antipas. Who wrote the letter to Tiberius to get me into trouble to say that I am no friend of Caesar, or Herod Antipas? So, hey, I'm a smart man. I find no fault. He's not from my jurisdiction. He's from Galilee, the northern part of Israel. Take him off to Herod Antipas. In my mind, thinking, Herod's already killed one prophet 3 years ago, John the Baptist. Let him kill another prophet. Let it be on his head, not my head. Little did I know that Herod would wimp out too and send him back to me, beaten and bruised. And yet, at that point in time, Herod and I became friends. No longer was he accusing me of not being a friend to Caesar, but we became friends. So Jesus comes back to me. He comes back. And in the process, my wife comes down, as I already said. My wife comes down and says, have nothing to do with this man. He is innocent. I don't know about you all, but if I would listen to my wife a bit more times, I would have life a little bit easier. I didn't listen to her. That's why she became a saint in two churches, and I only became a saint in one church. Well, it got to the point, the whole process, that I finally washed my hands. And I said, you want him crucified? You crucify him, because I want to release somebody. I want to release Yahweh, Jehovah, or Yahweh, Yahshua. I want to release him, but it's my custom to release the prisoner at the Seder Passover meal. So I said, do you want Jesus Barnabas or Jesus the Messiah? Jesus Barnabas, Jesus the Messiah. I thought they would choose Jesus Barnabas. He was a rebel. He was causing problems. He was a zealot. But they chose Jesus, the Messiah, they called. So as I said, I washed my hands. I said, my blood's not on my hands. His blood is on your hands. The religious leader said, we take it, and it's on our children's hands. I think you all know the rest of the story. How they took this man, how I had him beaten, how they put the crown of thorns on his head, how they brought him down to the cross. He carried his own cross. How they put him up on the cross. How on the cross I put the charge, the King of the Jews. That was his charge against him, that he said he was a king. The religious leaders didn't want that up there. I put my foot down. I said, no, it stays. You wanted it. That was your charge against him. It stays. But when I think about it, it's sort of sad that here was a man who I knew was innocent. I knew there was nothing wrong in his life. Here was another man, Jesus Barabbas, who we had in jail. And I believe he was coming up on charges of murder and rebellion and fighting against Rome. And he probably would have been executed. So here I had an innocent man and a guilty man. And which one was crucified? The innocent man. Why? Why? For the Ethiopian church that has canonized me, they believe that I learned the truth. What is truth? They believe that I learned, and the reality is God knows for me. But they believe that I learned the truth, that what you have within what's called the Bible, that it says, all men and women have fallen short of the glory of God. Every single one of you. You think that if you live your life right, that if you're faithful in a marriage, if you don't go out and drink and do drugs, and if you don't do all these things, that then life will be good and you can go to heaven. The reality is, all of you have sinned and fall short of God's glory. See, none of us, not even myself, can be so good so I get to heaven myself. I am guilty.